Hello everyone and welcome. Today I'm making this card where I painted a branch with blueberries. I live in Sweden and right now it's blueberry season. The woods in our village are covered with blueberries and this inspired the card today. I was going to use normal watercolors, but then I decided to change it up and I will be using water-based brush markers instead. But you can use watercolors if you don't have such markers. I pre-sketched the blueberries and transferred the image onto my watercolor cardstock. I was actually surprised how easy it was to draw. If you know how to draw ovals or raindrops and circles, you can definitely draw this. However, if you don't want to be sketching yourself, I will tell you how to get this sketch later in this video. But first, let me tell you how I painted this branch. I will speed up the video so you can see the whole process, but if it's too fast or if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Also, I managed to get my head slightly into the view and some of the parts I had to remove, so sorry for that. And also sorry for my dirty fingers, they are slightly stained from picking blueberries, apologies for that. Anyways, as I mentioned, I used the water-based markers. For the leaves, I used the ZigBrush markers, and for the blueberries, I used Sakura Koi. But there are many brands that sell water brush markers. You don't need these exact ones. If you have never used these markers, they can be used with water as watercolors or they can be used as alcohol markers. And I use them in both ways. I just was experimenting on each leaf. I use 3 shades of green, but if you only have one, you can use only one, just like I will use the blue on the blueberries. The reason I use multiple shades is because when I was choosing the shades and experimenting, I thought it looks interesting when the leaves are in different shades. For each leaf, I use 2 shades and I apply the darker shade at the bottom and lighter at the top. On some leaves, I left the top without any color, and then I came with my water brush pen and combined the 2 colors, and I also brought the color to the top, and this created sort of a gradient. On other leaves, I covered the whole leaf with the marker, darker at the bottom, lighter at the top, and then I activated it with water, which is optional, at least with ZigBrush markers. If you are using them as alcohol markers, they do blend very well together. But to stay consistent, I did the same as with other leaves. I used my water brush pen, and by using water, it changes the color a bit and it mixes the colors together. And as I went from leaf to leaf, I was switching between the shades of the green. I was also turning my cardstock around depending on the direction of the leaf, which made the application much easier. If you watch my previous video, which was a shorts video, I painted a branch with leaves, but I did not move the cardstock, so it's easier for the viewer to watch as I speed up the video quite a lot, and it was quite difficult to paint. And by the way, I release YouTube shorts every other week, and if you don't watch YouTube shorts, they probably will not be recommended to you. I will leave the link to the playlist with my shorts in the description below and at the end of this video. There is one more thing that you can do with these markers, and that is to scribble the color onto a slick surface and add water and paint the image this way. I mainly do this when I'm adding splatter. For the blueberries, as I mentioned, I used the Sakura Koi marker. In the set of the ZigBrush markers I didn't have a good dark blue shade, so that's why I used the Koi. I only have 1 shade of blue. I applied it at the bottom of the berry, and with my water brush pen, I moved the color up. As I said at the beginning, this branch is very easy to draw, but if you do not feel like drawing or you actually want to paint exactly what I drew, I scanned an outline image of this blueberry branch and you can download it over on my blog. It's not the best outline, at least not for coloring, but it will work if you want to transfer the image onto a watercolor cardstock. All you need to do is print it onto a printer paper, cover the back with the lead of the pencil, place it onto the cardstock and trace the image with a pen. This will transfer the image onto your watercolor cardstock. I hope this helps, and if you want me to do downloadable sketches more often, let me know in the comments. Since I'm making a card, which by the way is optional, you do not need to make a card, I first trimmed my cardstock slightly smaller than my card base. I actually used a stitched rectangular die and I cut the panel off camera, and then I stamped a greeting. I used a small stamp with the words best wishes, quite a neutral sentiment. If you do not have stamps, you can leave it without a greeting or write it yourself. And lastly, I adhere the panel on top of a card base. Recently, I bought a pack of grey cardstock. Normally, I use white or craft cardstock, and I thought grey is another perfect neutral color for card bases. And what I discovered after opening the pack of the cardstock, every single page at the top right corner had a barcode printed on it. So I can only use half of the page. How annoying is that? The cardstock is from the company Folia. I adhere the panel on top of the card base. I used a simple double-sided tape, but you can also use a foam tape so it's a little bit raised. And the card is finished. I hope you like this video and will try painting it yourself, and even drawing. It's really easy, but as I said, the sketch is over on my blog. If you would like to see more cards where I painted my own images, just check out the playlist on the top. All these are simple to paint, perfect for beginners. And if you would like to see my YouTube shorts, check out the playlist at the bottom. So that is all for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.